You say something to your dog, maybe their name, maybe a word they know, maybe just a string of sounds in an interesting tone, and they do it. That slow, deliberate tilt of the head to one side, ears slightly forward, eyes focused entirely on your face. It is one of the most universally beloved things a dog does. People photograph it, share it, and melt every time they see it. But nobody really asks why. We just accept it as something charming and move on. That is a mistake. Because the reason behind the head tilt is not simple, it is not purely visual, and it reveals something about how your dog experiences you that most people have never considered. The head tilt is not one thing. The first important point is that the head tilt is not a single behavior with a single explanation. It has at least 3 distinct functions, each serving a different purpose, and they often operate simultaneously. Understanding each of them separately changes the way the tilt looks. The first function is auditory. The second is visual. The third is cognitive. All 3 are happening at once when your dog tilts their head at you. And all 3 tell you something specific about what your dog is trying to do in that moment. The auditory function. Dogs have a remarkable ability to locate the source of a sound. Their ears can rotate independently up to 180 degrees in some breeds, and they use this mobility to triangulate the direction and distance of sounds with precision that far exceeds our own. But locating a sound and fully decoding it are different things. When a dog tilts their head, they are adjusting the position of their outer ear, the pinna, to better funnel sound into the ear canal. Specifically, they are trying to identify the precise tonal qualities within a voice, including the emotional content buried in pitch and rhythm. Dogs are extraordinarily sensitive to prosody, the music of speech. The tone, the cadence, the rise and fall of a human voice carries enormous information for them. They can distinguish happy from angry, calm from anxious, genuine from performed, in a voice they know well. Tilting the head allows them to catch more of those subtle tonal details, particularly in the frequency ranges that carry emotional meaning. When you speak to your dog and they tilt their head, they are not just listening to you. They are fine-tuning their listening, trying to extract every layer of information your voice contains. They want to hear you more accurately, and the tilt is how they do it. The visual function. This explanation comes from Dr. Stanley Coren, a well-known researcher in canine psychology who put forward a visual argument for the head tilt that is strikingly simple and has since been supported by behavioral observation. Dogs with longer muzzles have a significant visual obstruction directly in front of their face. The shape of their snout actually blocks a portion of their lower visual field, including the part of a human face where the mouth and lower expression live. Human facial expressions carry enormous information in the lower half of the face. The mouth especially communicates emotion, intention, and emphasis in ways that dogs, after thousands of years of living alongside us, have learned to read. When a dog tilts their head to one side, the muzzle shifts out of the way, and a larger portion of a human face becomes visible. Coren's surveys found that dogs with larger, flatter muzzles, bulldogs, pugs, breeds where the snout is minimized, tilted their heads significantly less frequently than dogs with longer snouts. If the tilt were purely about hearing, muzzle shape wouldn't be a variable at all, but it is. The tilt is partly about seeing you more completely, seeing your whole face, the part the muzzle normally hides. Your dog tilts their head because they are trying to see your mouth. They are trying to read your whole face at once. The cognitive function. The third function is perhaps the most significant, and it is the one most recently explored by research. A 2021 study conducted at the Family Dog Project in Budapest, one of the world's leading centers for canine cognition research, found something unexpected. Researchers were studying which dogs could successfully learn the names of specific objects and retrieve them on command. Most dogs showed limited ability to hold specific word-to-object associations, but a small number of dogs described in the study as gifted learners showed a strong and reliable ability to identify and retrieve named toys from a set. And those gifted dogs tilted their heads far more frequently when listening to their owners than the typical dogs in the study. The researchers proposed that the head tilt, in this context, is a physical expression of active cognitive engagement. It is the visible sign of a dog not simply receiving a sound, but processing it, working to extract meaning, match it to stored associations, and formulate a response. The tilt is what effortful listening looks like on a dog's body. When your dog tilts their head, they may be doing the canine equivalent of leaning forward in concentration. They are not just receiving your voice. They are trying to understand it. What your voice does to their brain. Research from the Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest used brain imaging on dogs to measure how they process human speech. The findings were striking. Dogs use the left hemisphere of their brain to process the words themselves, and the right hemisphere to process the emotional tone, exactly the same division of labor as humans. And the reward center of the brain, the region associated with positive anticipation and pleasure, only activated fully when the dogs heard both meaningful words delivered in a positive tone simultaneously. Words without tone produced a weaker response. Tone without meaningful words produced a weaker response. It was the combination content and emotion together that fully engaged their brain's reward system. Your dog is listening to what you say and how you say it at the same time, and combining both streams of information to understand you as completely as they can. The head tilt is the visible expression of that effort. They are adjusting their hearing, clearing their visual field, and focusing their attention to receive you as fully as possible. The breeds that tilt more. Dog owners often notice that some breeds tilt their heads far more frequently than others. Poodles, golden retrievers, and other dogs known for trainability and social engagement tend to be frequent tilters. Dogs bred primarily for independent working tasks, sighthounds, some scenthounds tend to tilt less. The correlation is not accidental. Head tilting frequency is associated with social attentiveness, the degree to which a dog is oriented toward human communication as a primary source of information. Dogs who have been bred over generations to pay attention to people, to work alongside them, to respond to vocal commands and facial cues, those dogs tilt more. They have been selected over centuries for the very trait the head tilt represents. A deep investment in understanding what humans are saying. The reveal. When your dog tilts their head at you, every instinct is to smile and coo at how adorable it is. And it is adorable. But what you are looking at is not a cute accident. It is one of the most concentrated expressions of cognitive and emotional effort your dog produces. They are adjusting their hearing to catch your tone more completely. They are moving their muzzle out of the way to see your whole face. They are engaging the part of their brain that works hardest to extract meaning from your words. They are, in the most literal sense, trying as hard as they can to understand you. The head tilt is not your dog being cute. It is your dog paying attention. It is your dog saying, "I want to know what you are saying. You matter enough to listen to carefully." The next time your dog tilts their head at you, take a second before you react. Look at that focused face, those forward ears, those eyes fixed on yours. That animal is working to understand you not because they have to, but because they want to. Because you are the most important voice in their world, and they want to catch every word. Which words or sounds make your dog tilt their head the most? Tell us in the comments, we'd love to know. And if this gave you a new appreciation for that small sideways moment, subscribe. Every week we go deeper into the hidden intelligence of what your dog is trying to understand.